with obviously when you're getting together at a social event, right, in real life, we'll say in real life, it's a lot more fun when you're doing stuff with other people, right, doing activities rather than just like showing up in a room and showing pictures of your kids to people, right? So but I mean, some people do that and some people like that, that's fine. But I think that for the most part, social networking, social interaction, it's a lot more fun when you're doing something fun. So we've talked about these other games, these that have already been doing it: World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox. What's next? What is the next? What's the next big thing that's going to drive this social interaction, the social experience that's going to take the gaming as a social platform to the next step? Anyone? Doesn't matter. Whoever wants to tackle it.
Yeah, I'll jump in if that's okay, if you guys can hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. It's gonna be obviously interesting, and if we knew exactly what those next steps were, we'd be in good shape, right? So on the business side, but what I think is, the way I kind of frame it is, I think, let's say VR AR, full blown VR AR is 10 steps away, right? I think we can all agree on that. There's a lot of awesome projects out there, and really interesting environments and things being done with VR and AR, but it's not full blown mainstream yet. I think we could agree with that. Because of the friction with equipment, cost, and things like that. So what's going to be interesting is, how do you take away that friction? So let's say at step 10, full-blown AR, VR, what's step 1, 2? So step 1 or 2, a couple steps could be these immersive environments. So immersive environments that don't have that friction of having to have the equipment and the cost associated with it. So, I mean, you think about WoW, you think about Fortnite, that is a level, that's kind of like an entry level in my mind, how I frame it as an immersive environment. But like something like where it's browser based, where you're able to go into the environment very frictionless, right? And then you kind of you're in that environment, whether it's on the recreational side, or it's on, which is also interesting, on the business side of things as well, which that's a whole nother topic that could be discussed. But that's, I think it's an immersive environment that is, a hybrid. It's not full blown AR VR, but it's something in between where we are now and where AR VR is going to take us.
Excellent. I like that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely you're onto something there. The idea that AR VR is what people think of when they think of like the future of gaming, even in any sort of social way. I think a big factor is movies like Ready Player One. That gives a visual representation of what it would look like when the world starts to adopt these things as a norm, instead of it being just an entertainment piece or a novelty piece. I know right now, anybody gets an Oculus and in your friend group, and it's kind of a big deal. It's like, oh wow, I would love to have one of those, but I don't have $500 to shell out to get one. And so it's a big deal. But if someone says, I got a PlayStation, okay, cool. Or I got a new gaming rig. Okay, cool. I mean, everybody's got that. But as these things become the norm, it'll be a lot easier to establish these communities. Now, one thing that I think of as a developer is when I'm trying to develop my game, I'm not developing my game around the Steam platform or the Xbox platform or the PlayStation. I'm developing my game to be my game. And so when someone mentioned earlier about having that platform that you come into, and then from that platform, you can go into one of my games, or you can go into Call of Duty, or any game that you want to play. I think that's the next step, is seeing who's going to develop that platform that other developers can come in and grab, some code and things that they put in their game to link the two. Once that happens, I think this conversation will really start to materialize in front of us as not just an obvious thing that's been happening, but an obvious thing that's moving in the direction that we're talking, where it's going to be not just the demographic of 10 to 25 or the demographic of males only, or, you know, that kind of thing. It's going to be, you know, like Facebook right now, where when I got on Facebook, you had to have a college email address and it was made for college students. But now my mom's on Facebook, my grandma's on Facebook, my dad's on Facebook. My dad runs a business off of Facebook. Like this wasn't expected, but I think now that we see that it happens, we can see that it's probably going to happen with gaming too. Especially since gaming is universal now. It's not just young people or young males, it's everyone. Everyone's playing games of some sort. And it's surprising sometimes, but it shouldn't be, because of the nature of it all, of the social nature of it all. People, they want to be social. And so, yeah, it's kind of an inevitability that it's going to happen. It's going to end up in VR, AR, but I think, like you're saying, those couple first steps, I think that's somebody coming out and making the platform and taking that risk on.
I like that. Thanks, Brandon. Who else wants to chime in? What's the next big thing?
Okay.
Well,
Hello.
sorry, go ahead. I was.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kwesi Afo from Ghana. I think that there are so many interesting things happening in the gaming space. Personally, I believe that one of the revolution that will come into gaming will be, for instance, I'm in Africa and a movie is being released in US, and I can sit here and watch the movie with my gaming within that same gaming space, and be in the theater or be in the cinema hall, but not physically, but virtually. This is something that will happen in the years to come. And I believe that gaming gives the opportunity to do that. So for instance, my cousin, my brother, my mom in New York, going to a movie can send me a ticket via my game, and I can be in game and watch the movie with them at the theater. These are some technologies that I believe that will happen. And I wrote an article on Ready Player One on LinkedIn, and I believe that from the way that gaming is becoming universal, these technologies will merge and give us the opportunity for people to connect in a different way.
Excellent. Good comment there, Kwesi. I appreciate that. Anybody else want any other comments on just what is the next big thing? What's the next step? You know, Chris talked about how, you know, there's, you know, step 10 is maybe full blown everything, but what's in between? Justin, well, I saw you there.
I'm going to say, if I knew what the next big step is, I'd be sitting on an island retired somewhere first.
Right?
You know, I think, you know, and I say, I joke about this because a long time ago, if everybody remembers when Angry Birds first took off, I was consulting, and I probably had no less than a dozen VCs come to me and say, hey, we'll make you rich if you find the next Angry Birds. And I would say, if I found the next Angry Birds, I'd be buying your VC firm. If any of us if anybody has actually knew the next step, I think we'd all be running to it. It's going to take somebody a lot smarter than me to figure it out. We had the one person mention the platform earlier, you know, the data platform. I think whatever the next step is, it's going to be driven by content is king and queen and Pope and God. So it's going to be driven by, I mean, we're talking about Fortnite because of the content. The content's what drove the social platform. You know, and I think the thing is, even with Facebook becoming the big social platform, it was the content. And it was the humans, us, that created the content there. In the gaming space, it's a developer that creates the content, along with then the fan base creating more content. So I think the next thing, and let's not forget, we're kind of messing a big thing here. We're all talking about Fortnite, but have you seen the numbers from Roblox? I mean, you know, you want to talk about a social platform phenomenon. Roblox is, I believe, dwarfs Fortnite if you can go across everything. So I actually believe the next platform is a combination of, it's going to sound too, is going to be a combination of a great game with the social interaction, but being able to use that across media. I think one of the things that's made Fortnite so successful is the fact that you can play it cross-platform. And I think that the next big thing will be something that allows consumers to go across multiple platforms and multiple devices. No matter where they're playing that interaction, they're able to keep it with them and keep it going. With Fortnite, because I know people have they'll have it on their mobile and they'll interact with their friends on the mobile, even if they're not actually playing the mobile game. And I think that's what we have to keep in mind is, I'm not a hardcore mobile gamer because I'd rather play on my consoles. But the fact is that if you really want to talk about the next big thing, it's got to include the ability to interact with the content through mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, Justin, especially since a majority of, what we would categorize gamers right now, more people are playing mobile games than they are anything else. I mean, by a long shot, because everyone has phones. Not everybody has a console. Not everybody has a PC that can handle, serious games. So I think you're on point about mobile being the key to that. Florian, you were saying something.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I really like the point from Justin. And if you read the tweet from Tim, CEO of Fortnite, he was asked if Fortnite is a game or a platform in just last December. And his answer was, it's a game, but please ask that again in 12 months. So I really see this user-generated concept growing. The gaming industry, in my opinion, is still too much in a manufacturing mode. There are the developers and there are the players. And every other social media or any other large online platform has been grown from the community that create content. And I wouldn't say it's the next step because it's already happening. Maybe to leave some good words about Struct, that's what we exactly do there. We have 250,000 games on the platform built by users and no advertisement spent for this platform. So I really believe in that. And maybe then the next thing could be an idea, could be dreaming. Why not? What I see a lot in other industries is, it's a different topic, AI. And we have chatbots and we have bots playing the video games. So why don't we have like virtual friends playing with you, chatting with you? Because most of the time when I played World of Warcraft, I had friends in World of Warcraft. What I saw from them is how they chat and how they play together with me, but I never saw the person behind it. So it could have been a bot and I never knew. So maybe this is something to
that's an interesting,
like a virtual friend or something like this. And yeah, I see a lot of benefits from AI already in other industries, and maybe it can also help the gaming industry.
artificial friendships. That is a whole nother
I
love it.
idea.
Playing video games and
Well, you see that on a small scale, like for those that we mentioned Discord, I think we'll jump into it a little bit later, but the Discord bots. If you're on Discord, you think about the levels of bots you can create on there, and you're engaging with bots. Like as soon as you bang, you hit the server, it's like someone coming to you and say, "Hey, how are you? Like, how can I help you?"
Sometimes.
you don't necessarily have to make best friends with a bot. But if 4 of your friends are online, then you're, or let's say 5 from the opponent team, 4 from your team, and you need a bot, and this bot can also talk and really do the teamwork in a social interaction. And it could be a gap filler, I don't know.
And it creates community. I think that's the thing you're saying. You're framing it as these bots can create the community. Because in the end, WoW, about community, right?
And the more bots are active, the more the machine would learn about the real people and then act like real people.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. Magnus, I saw you unmuted yourself. Did you wanted to comment on that as well?
No, I was just unmuting, going there. No special comment on that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mariella, Michaela, you guys have any thoughts on that before we move on?
I think virtual reality and augmented reality will be very crucial for like platforms for in the future, but of course we see there are many issues like also Chris was mentioning. So I agree also with Justin, because everyone has a smartphone, so smartphones are really the platforms everyone is using. So I would love to see maybe a virtual reality game on mobile working like Fortnite to create a huge community. But I don't know if we have this kind of games right now, of if we can have a game like that in the near future, because of course we are seeing there are still many issues.
Jumping in there, seeing mobile, I mean, do we foresee that mobile will change the whole consumer behavior? How do you play on mobile today or play on PC, on console? Is that a way we're gonna change that? Because that's a big change in how people consume media or play games. I mean, mobile is there, but do we see that we're moving on, that we can build that type of Fortnite with the whole big community thing that you do on mobile, or do we need to bigger mobiles? That's why we've been growing the mobile side for a long time. They're getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes they were smaller and smaller. Now we're being bigger. But how big can it be? And is that a consumer behavior that needs to be happened before we can have mobile really taking off? Because it's there, a lot of players, but we're not utilizing them all. And there's a lot of players that we don't even talk about, like the people that are above 50 that plays Candy Crush, those kind of things, spend a lot of money on those guys. We haven't even touched on them because we all talk about the PUBG, the Fortnites, the World of Warcraft. We don't actually talk about the real money drivers. As you said, Roblox, nobody actually has something coming in, but there's other games that people spend a lot of money on that we don't even talk about and see how they actually build in communities also, or they don't have a community to go to.
I like that. Thank you, Magnus. Mariella, did you want to say comment on that at all?
Yeah, I do believe that mobile is the way that we are staying connected, and I certainly see that people here are expecting the Minecraft Earth Android application that should be connected and should be AR, and maybe that's the next thing. But again, just for a small part of the community, what we see with our browser games is that those people, they don't want even to switch to Discord channels. They feel that these channels are like, they're frustrated there, like in a train station or something like that. They don't know where to go and where to comment on something. They prefer just our Firebase Google chats that we have in-game, and they know how to use. And yeah, they're super active. There are even people that are married because of our game. They first met there, and then, yeah, the relationship expanded to that, but they're still different kind of players.